Hi, I'm James Bay, and this is My Guitars and Me. This is a Gibson ES-330. It's the Luther Dickinson signature model, which what I remember being told, and I think what I like about it as well, is it feels a bit, it's still got the P90s, which we love. The Bigsby's fun, because they don't always have those. I guess the old 330s didn't have one of those. So that makes it a bit heavier. But lots of different guitar players that I like have always said, you know, more springs and more opportunity for the thing to vibrate, like the more the better. And it has this Bigsby, which is, you know, adds to that. Lots of 330s are completely hollow, very light, which I love all of that. But all of that makes for just sort of more and more like uncontrollable feedback, apparently. And then the 335, I think, I'm not like completely sure, but I think that has a block of wood all the way down the middle. The Luther Dickinson one has a block of wood that sort of stops halfway because he was trying to help the feedback and stuff, apparently. And then my version, which is this one, and I've had it for 10 years, and I've played it live a lot. I've not recorded it too much, but it now features this very specific guitar. Features on the cover of my new album, because I like the look of the guitar, but really because my daughter decorated it with some really great bus and dinosaur stickers. It was the first guitar, it was the first electric guitar that Gibson gave me. The G is a plain G string instead of a wound one. These are all on the bridge, all sort of movable. You can really kind of tweak and treat the intonation to sort of get it completely perfect. And the access is just sort of generally sort of different for like the heel of your hand. It's not, the strings aren't up here, you know, everything's sort of closer together. Action is more electric guitar sort of style. And I wanted that, but I like the hollow body thing. P90s can be a bit argumentative with like, whether it's lights or whatever. There's opportunity with these kinds of electric guitars to ultimately like not necessarily be able to avoid like outside noises. This isn't a perfect sort of sound-treated, soundproof studio of a guitar. There are issues, and that's some of my favorite stuff about playing them and writing on them. Because if your atmosphere and your environment for creating or playing or whatever is kind of pristine and perfect and silky and, you know, wonderful, that doesn't do it for me. That doesn't sort of turn me on. I need a bit of friction somewhere, somehow. I have a lot of adrenaline when I'm on stage and when I'm playing. And I can really put it, they can take it, these guitars. I think that's what I like. I can tell you that while the stickers are on here and that's new, there are some spots between these two pickups. These were sort of brown spots that I can guarantee you are blood. Like adrenaline was absolutely like raging when I was like first getting up in front of like thousands of people that actually wanted to see me. I felt unbelievable, but as well like terrified, and had to put all of that energy somewhere. So there's blood on here too, and I'm not interested in cleaning it. I try not to be too careful with guitars. They're very precious, yes, they're very expensive, they're beautiful pieces of art, but like I live with them and I fight with them and I get emotional with them and all that stuff that you do if you write, you know, on an instrument. Quite happy for it to get sort of bashed up if that's how it kind of goes on. I'm not sure how these occurred, but it's nice to see them. I don't want it to look too polished. I'm not as excited by that. Now I'm holding a National Resonator, and it's a new one. I think as much as anything, all the old ones, the frets were like dead, and this just felt like I could really play it here, not just here. This was a little bit of a whim. I just thought, I'd grown up having my moment in my sort of teens, like obsessing over like the old blues players of a long, long time ago. And so many of them, thinking about people like Sunhouse, a lot of different players from that kind of time had or were known for playing a steel guitar, Resonator. And I think I've continued to sort of dream about a collection that I continue to build. And there had to be one in there. Maybe there'll be another one day. But the first single for this album is called Up All Night. I released it a couple months ago. It's me and it's Noah Kahan, it's Lumineers. We're all on it together, shouting away and having a fun time. And the song was born in the studio, and this is the guitar that I recorded, that I ultimately wrote and recorded the song on. It's one of my kind of riffier songs, which I'm really proud to say, because I want to have riffs. All around, again, this is tuned down a whole step. This is D standard again. I'm just more comfortable singing there. So it looks like an E, but it's a D chord when I play this. That's the riff for the song. And I recorded it just mic'd up just like this, just clean. And we even did this thing, and I definitely enjoyed doing this when I played. There's a solo in that song that goes. And when we did that, it was the same thing. It was a microphone on the guitar, because there's no electronics. You just have to mic it up. And then we cranked the preamp on the desk until it's distorted and fantastically sort of horrible sounding. And that's the sound of the guitar solo, just a mic with the preamp in front of this guitar with the preamp turned all the way up. So yeah, you get all these overtones and beautiful sort of rings and chimes out of this because of this bit, I guess. Get all that stuff. I even play that on Up All Night. And then with that fuzz from the preamp, I love the chaos of all of that sound. It's as much a voice, this guitar on that record, as the voices are. This is a Gibson J200 or SJ-200 as it says inside, and I always forget to say the S, which potentially means super. Super jumbo? Don't know. It's a jumbo body acoustic guitar, and I guess I feel like, if I may be so bold, this is the other guitar that I feel quite sort of renowned in the last sort of 10 years for playing. I grew up playing an Epiphone, a very blonde, very kind of yellow Epiphone J200. Because of all the things that I've been telling you about, like I used to play open mic nights and busk, and I was all on my own and I wanted to sound as big as I could. I also wanted to sort of sing in like lower keys, so I tuned the guitar down so I could sing sort of lower and higher. I was trying to sort of broaden my range in all ways, instrumentally, musically, vocally. And these jumbo body Gibson acoustic guitars made that possible, basically. The big sort of Dreadnought Martins and stuff are fantastic, but this just does it for me and works the best. And I've sort of gone on to involve them in like a band setup on stage when I tour with the whole band. And they're also wonderful for me when I'm like solo on my own, but like plugged in. I know I can do a great show on one of these. That's like a relatively sort of guaranteed thing. So I always go back to them. And this is a new one, by the way. I'm pretty sure this is 2019. From 2019, as we do or don't know, Gibson stuff got particularly good. So I'm really enjoying playing those ones. This one sometimes gets tuned down to C# standard because some of my stuff's really high and I can't do it. And I don't want to sing that high or like try and sort of maintain my voice every night. But yeah, it's a great thing. And it's there's an LR Bags pickup in this. I use those in most of these for like live plugged in stuff. This got recorded. There's a song called Go On my new album. And it's funny, you know, so Go On, just to give you a tiny little bit about the song, I lost a family member in 2021. I didn't say to myself once he passed away that I needed to make a song about that, but it is one of my most effective ways to express myself in difficult moments or in, you know, elated moments or whatever. And I wrote this song, and it was a little bit of a kind of send-off. It felt like the feel of the song is it doesn't sound like a sort of traditional funeral march, but it was my funeral march for him. But when it came to recording it, the chords, you know, basically speaking, kind of, it's all these. It felt great, but it felt right on this big, deep, dark, kind of dour sounding instrument. So it was kind of always, in hindsight, it was always going to be on the J200, and it might well have been this one. If it wasn't this one, then I've got one identical to this that I usually tune a semitone different. It would have been on one of these. And it's nice to record on old instruments, vintage instruments, and we would have included some of those in that song, I guess. But like, this just held it down. And almost like at a funeral, you need someone who's kind of going to hold it together. And this guitar did that, because it was a very emotional experience recording the song. I'm James Bay, thank you for watching guitar.com, and that has been My Guitars and Me.